Hey everyone, I'm your astrologer Brittany of Ethereal Astrology, helping you to see the larger story of your life with horoscopes that emphasize the cycles of the moon and the slower moving planets. Today, you're watching your astrology horoscope for the collective for the full moon in the sign of Cancer, which occurs on Monday, January 13th, 2025 at 5:26 p.m. Eastern Time or 2:26 p.m. Pacific Time, of course, depending upon which part of the world that it is that you live in. Now, what I think is going on here at this full moon in Cancer is that we are in the process of releasing, I think, a lot of final bottlenecks in our life, especially since 2020, that have been keeping us stuck and able to move forward. And it is, in fact, working. However, it is a little bit of a process that's going to take time to play out and is maybe not the way we thought it would happen or in the timing we thought it would occur in. That's making us feel very unstable, very ungrounded, very insecure, very uncertain. And I think kind of uneasy and maybe act out in some weird ways that are unhelpful, maybe feel confused, that we're going to have to learn, I think, how to deal with and how to deal with by just being more patient and having more trust and faith here in the divine timing. So that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. If you want to hear more about that, please do stay tuned because I'm going to hop into it right now. Now, in order to get started, what I like to do first is, of course, to place it on the chart so that you can see what it is that I am referring to and follow along with me. So let me do this now. This is the chart. I have adjusted accordingly for the full moon in the sign of Cancer. I know that because I've got the moon here in Cancer, making an exact opposition over here to the sun at Capricorn, both at 23 degrees. And when the moon opposes the sun, this is a full moon. And of course, it's in Cancer because that's where the moon is. Okay, what is this all about in very broad general terms? Well, full moons are when the moon is the furthest away from the sun, which to me is a lot about trying to step into things more fully that we've been working towards for quite some time or bring them to fulfillment, to completion. Here, not only are full moons about stepping into things more fully, bringing them to completion, but that also is when the moon is very bright in the sky, which to me is a symbol for insight and illumination. So they're also a time when we are seeking insight or maybe start to see things that maybe we did not see before. In addition to that, full moon is a function of an opposition here as well. Oppositions to me are a symbol of decisions, right? Because it's hard to do two opposite things at once. So it's also a time as well at full moons that we feel pressured to maybe make more of a decision here about our situation. Hey, what is it that we're trying to step into more fully, get more insight about, or make some sort of decision around? Cancer, because that's a sign here that the moon is in. What is Cancer all about? Well, Cancer is a lot about our foundations in life, here where we feel just more solid and more strong, especially since it does correlate in a lot of ways to our home and our family, which is where our foundations are. So what that means to me, one of the first things that means to me is that a big thing that we're trying to do at this full moon in Cancer is step into a stronger foundation here in life, potentially with better home and family situations here that just feel more solid, possibly more secure. In addition to that, here as well, other things about Cancer. Cancer is a water sign. Water signs do tend to do with our emotions, and if not with our emotions, then our own inner world here. And I think seeing ourselves internally differently, and I think better, and yes, I'm going to go with stronger, again, with it being about our foundations here as well. So not only at this full moon in Cancer are we trying to step into just better, stronger, just foundation in life, maybe with a better home and family situation, but we're also trying to feel stronger within ourselves and to see ourselves internally in a much stronger and more solid way. In addition to that, Cancer is a lot about where we feel safe, being, again, a water sign, having to do with our emotions and ruled by the moon, where we feel safe, where we feel more comfortable, where we feel nurtured and at ease. Here too. So I think that's also something that we're trying to step into, get insight on, right? Make decisions about how we can have a stronger foundation in life, more solid, better home and family, feel safer, more comfortable, more nurtured, and a stronger inner sense of self here too. That's going on. Not only that, but with Cancer being at the bottom of the chart here, which is part of the reason why it has to do with our foundation, but tends to be more private, more internal, our own internal world, or just our private life instead of our public life here too. So this can also as well be a time in which we're going more inwards to deal with personal matters, private matters here, and to take care of and to adjust some of those. Not only that, another thought I'll give you too is that Cancer is a cardinal sign, just like Capricorn as well, where the sun is. Cardinal signs start seasons, the beginning of seasons, and they start kind of things going in a different direction here as well. So I think another thing that we're trying to do at this full moon in Cancer is not only feel more solid, more secure, more grounded in a different sense of self with better home and family situations where we feel more safe, more comfortable, more nurtured, and deal with our personal and private life here. But I think we're also trying to kind of get our life going in a different and better direction here as well. That again is going to facilitate the strength, the foundation, the safety, and all of that here that is happening. Okay, and I think that's all that I want to say for now, for the time being, about the general themes for this full moon in Cancer that we're working on, right? Trying to figure out how we can get a stronger foundation, home life, family life, more stability, more security, more inner strength, and a new direction going on. Okay, now before I give you more specific details about this full moon in Cancer itself and how it's going to play out, I do like to go backwards in time before I go forwards in time, especially if you've been watching me for a while first. And I do like to do that here to give you more of the context about this full moon in Cancer, because we do have a full moon in Cancer almost every year. I think it's really that context, what came before it in the larger alignments of the larger planets that really make the most significant difference between each one. So I'm going to go back to that and start from there. If you're not interested in that, totally cool. Not a big deal. You can just go ahead and skip it. If you want to just dive straight into this full moon, I've got the timestamps here on this video and in the description box to make that easier for you to do. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and hop into it. So let me do that. I like to go back to an alignment that occurred, what is it, 5 years ago now? The very beginning of 2020, January to April of 2020. Here at that time, we had a very rare, significant, and difficult alignment happen, which is why it's so important. What was that rare, significant, and difficult alignment? Well, it was Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn, and the South Node all coming conjunct towards the middle to late degrees of Capricorn, which is, to be honest with you, right about here where the sun is for this full moon. It was somewhere right around 21, I think, to 23 degrees of Capricorn. This is a very rare alignment because Saturn and Pluto only come conjunct about every 35 years, and not always with Jupiter in the South Node there, making it even more rare than that 35-year timeline. Not only that, but it was difficult because Saturn and Pluto do tend to be a little more difficult, being planets further out from where we live, classified more as malefic. Here, not only that, but Jupiter was in Capricorn, a sign it doesn't like to be in, also making that not function that well. And the South Node too was there, also hard as well. So a very rare difficulty that only happens every 35 or so years. What was that rare difficulty? Well, Saturn can bring a feeling of stuckness that's going on and just not being where we want to be in life, especially for the past 35 years, which I think is either because we did not like what happened in the 35 years prior to this, or we did like what happened in the 35 years prior to, but we've just simply outgrown it and we're ready to move on. So it was making us feel stuck. Not only that, but Pluto is a lot about permanent change, and I think more endings rather than beginnings. So you have to end things in order to begin things here, requiring us to make permanent changes to end things here, and very big, Jupiter, very big changes to end some things, which I think were very hard to let go of, with the South Node there indicating attachments as well here, especially when it came to the structure of our lives, Capricorn, and the direction it was going in. So that to me is a starting point, January, April 2020. We realized something's not right in my life. Hasn't been for the past 35 years. Either didn't like any of it, or I did like some of it, but I just outgrown it. Ready to move on. I need to make big endings, permanent endings, to let go of this stuff from the past 35 years that I don't like, that was hard to do, had attachments to it. Okay, now I'm going to fast forward 2 years, the next alignment, also in April of 2022. Here we had another alignment. We had a new moon solar eclipse here on the North Node, somewhere in the sign of Taurus. This to me was a positive thing because it was on the North Node, which I tend to see as more useful here and more helpful, because the North Node is a lot about our purpose in life. What is that about? New moons are about new beginnings. Solar eclipses superpower that. North node's about our purpose and destiny. It's in Taurus. Taurus is a lot about stability, security, especially after that time of change. It's also as well an earth sign ruled by Venus, about fertility and abundance and new growth here as well. That's going on. So I think what happened in April 2022 is that we felt like we'd made enough hard endings in the past 2 years prior to let go of things we did not like, so that now we're in a better place, more stable, more secure, where we can try to grow things after this point, create new things that are more fertile and more abundant after this point, that I thought was good. And that then leads me now to the next alignment I want to mention, which was 2 weeks after that, also somewhere around April of 2022, and that was when we had a full moon, lunar eclipse, and the opposite sign of Scorpio on the south node. Now that to me was a little bit more difficult here. That to me was a bit difficult, sure, maybe because the moon is in Scorpio, a sign it doesn't like to be in, but especially because it was on the south node, which was there at the time, and the south node just tends to be more challenging because it's a place of attachments, where we have attachments to things that just are no longer serving us. Okay, what was the difficulty there that was going on? Well, again, full moons are really about ending, releasing things, letting things go. Solar eclipses superpower that, and the south node is going to give difficulty. We're having difficulty ending, releasing, and letting go of things. What were we having difficulty letting go of? Scorpio. Not because Scorpio is a bad sign. Scorpio is just a fine sign. It's just because the south node was there at that time. So I'm going to interpret it more challengingly. Scorpio in a challenging way can indicate change, too much change, right? We were stuck in that and needed to let that go. Why were we stuck in that? Well, because that's what we'd been doing since 2020 to end stuff. Why did we need to let that go? Because in order to build the new life, you got to stop tearing things down, right? Change is not going to build new things. It's going to tear. We need a different skill set there. So we have to stop making changes and be more secure in our situation. Not only was that a bad habit that we had, but another habit we needed to let go of was about our emotions. Scorpio is a water sign, a lot about our emotions, and can also be a sign that has to do with trauma too. We had a lot of traumatic emotions we needed to let go of here. Why did we need to let go of them? Well, it makes sense that we would have them since 2020, especially if we were ending a lot of things. But when you're building something new that's supposed to be better, to constantly indulge challenging emotions is not going to help. It's going to confuse the new and muddy the waters of the new and seed some of the despair into the new life. So we needed to stop indulging some of these negative emotions, not because we weren't justified in feeling them, just because they're not necessarily going to help build what's to come. Not only that, but Scorpio is also a money sign, and when negative can indicate debt. So maybe we also had a lot of debts from the things we've been ending over the course of the past few years that were also hard to let go of, that we were still in the midst of paying off, right? And we needed to pay those off because you don't want to create something new when you got a whole bunch of debts. Here makes it hard to support the new thing that you're doing. In addition to that, Scorpio as well is a lot about relationships, and can be relationships where we're too intertwined. So we also had relationships that we were still a little too intertwined with from these endings here that we also needed to let go of, because when you're building something new, you don't know what you're doing, and it's easier to go alone than to have all these other attachments and things like that. So we needed to let go of that. And if I can be honest with you, even though we realized that around April of 2022, I think it took us almost an entire year to really fully get that through our minds and to fully release those things, the debts, the too close relationships, some of these negative emotions, and this too much change. It really wasn't until the following year we got that, also around April, because that's the beginning of the astrological year of 2023. And in April of 2023, we had some significant things going on. We had a new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. We also had two planets change signs somewhere around that time. Pluto left Capricorn briefly to enter the sign of Aquarius, and Saturn left Aquarius to enter the sign of Pisces. And when you get to slower moving planets like that changing signs, it can be very significant, indicating chapter changes in our life, new stories, new storylines setting themselves up. Again, especially with a solar eclipse and Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, about new beginnings, in a solar eclipse superpowering that. So what I think happened in April of 2023 is that we finally, adjusted a lot of things from the previous year, not as many changes, paid off debts, not as many of these crazy relationships and negative emotions, where we felt as though we could try again for a second time to move forward into a new, different, and better experience that we'd been trying to, especially since the year prior. And that then leads me to the next alignment I want to mention. A few months later, May to June. Maybe it's about a month later, May of 2023. Around May of 2023, we then had Venus start to go retrograde right here in the sign of Leo. Now, this is a little bit of a challenging thing as well, a challenging thing because it's a planet here moving backwards, which means not forward, not forward movement, backward movement here, especially a personal planet, which sometimes we can feel on a more personal, everyday level. So this is a challenge, feeling stuck, again, unable to progress. What was the challenge? Well, it was different from what it was the year prior, right? The year prior was the Scorpio stuff, the relationships, the money, the emotions, the change, here, all of that. Well, this is different. What is keeping us stuck now is the Leo. We weren't tapping into the Leo fully, or else Venus wouldn't need to go retrograde there. And what we weren't doing fully is Leo. Leo's about happiness. It's about joy. It's about having fun. It's about pleasure. It's about courage. It's about being bold, taking risks, following your heart, expressing that here. And I think we weren't doing that because we were still, as Pluto retrograded back into Capricorn around that time, stuck in emergency mode from these past few years, trying to deal with things. So that's what happened in May of 2023. Trying to move forward again for a second time on a new and better experience of life after ending all this stuff since 2020, and I'm still stuck. Yet this time for another reason, because I'm not following my heart. Not following my heart and who I am and what makes me happy here, and we needed to recover that. And that then leads me now to the next alignment I want to mention 2 months later, roughly July of 2023. What we had is Pluto back in Capricorn at the very last degree, somewhere right around here, making a square to the nodal axis, which includes the south node here in Libra at the time and the north node here in Aries. What is that? Well, when a planet squares a nodal axis, that can also be a symbol of stuckness, feeling stuck, which we already kind of knew with that Venus retrograde. So another indicator of like just stuck, unable to move forward, still happening a few months after. Not only that, but this can also indicate something else too. Squares to the nodal axis, in evolutionary astrology, based on what I do, can indicate big choices needing to be made here in order for us to get unstuck. And a big choice here with the focal point of Pluto, because Pluto was squaring the nodal axis, and Pluto is about change. Not a lot of change, because we had the South Node in Scorpio right before this, but just like one big change, just one more big change here that we needed to make, and one more big change to get out of Capricorn emergency mode and more into our feelings and our heart here that's going on with that Venus retrograde and Leo. And I think we started to make that big change in July of 2023. Okay. That I think, to be honest, took us a few months to make. It really wasn't until that following year that it started to come together. And I think that was also around April, the beginning of the astrological new year of 2024. And around that time, April, maybe a little bit into May of 2024, we had another significant alignment, which was Jupiter conjunct Uranus here in the sign of Taurus, right? April 2024. Okay, this is a little bit of a rare alignment because Jupiter only conjuncts Uranus about every 12 years. So not something that happens too terribly often. I also did consider it a little more positive because Jupiter is involved about gifts and good luck. So I thought it was meant to be helpful. Here, what was the good thing? Again, Jupiter's about gifts, good luck. It's also about new things. Here, Uranus can be the sudden and unexpected, and it's in Taurus. Remember, about fertility, about abundance, about growing something, new, different. Here, that's going on here, and a little boost to help us do that in some sort of way with some little money help financially. Taurus about finances or our confidence or our skills, or maybe having to do with our body, with it being an earth sign. So in April of 2024, I think we finally made a change, right, to honor more of our happiness, our heart, our joy, and got a little bit of a boost to do that, to bring it together with money, finances, our own sense of self, our health here, to help us try again for a third time. Yes, a third time here to get into a new, different, and better experience of life. That now leads me to the next alignments that I want to mention. However, the next alignments are going to be more with the new moons, to go in a little more into detail that happened after that. Okay, the next new moon that we had after that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, I believe, was going to be right here in the sign of Gemini, somewhere around June, okay, of last year, 2024. What is that about? New moons are about new beginnings. Gemini is about thoughts, ideas, options, multiple options, the twins, and being an air sign correlated to Mercury. So in June of 2024, what was going on here is we realized we have a third chance to move forward into a new, different, and better experience of life that we've been trying to get to for a while. And we had now a lot of thoughts and ideas start to open up in our mind of how we can do that, what we can do next to move these things forward here. That I thought was very exciting. That then leads me now to the next alignment I want to mention a month later, somewhere around here, July of last year, 2024, we had a new moon in the next sign over Cancer. New moons are about new beginnings. Cancer is a lot about stability, security, growth, having a strong foundation. And I think what happened in July of last year at that new moon in Cancer is that we realized we have a lot of good ideas about what we want to do next in our life to move it forward, but none of them feel right or feel grounded enough or strong enough or like they're going to give us the best foundation and the best result here, and that we don't really know which one to choose. Okay, out of all these ideas in order to move forward. That was a little hard. That then leads me now to the next alignment I want to mention, which was, of course, the next month over here, the next new moon in Leo in August of 2024. Okay, what is that about? New moons are about new beginnings. Leo is about our heart, happiness, joy, passion, boldness, courage. It also is making a good connection to the North Node in Aries at the time. I consider the North Node to be very positive about our purpose and life. Aries is about doing things, yes, but also shorter, easier, quicker, simpler, based on more of our passions, where we're not overthinking things, not relying so much on other people in order to make it happen. So I think what occurred in August of 2024 is that we realized we want to move forward again for a third time in a new experience of life. We got a lot of ideas. We didn't know which one to choose. And we realized in August 2024 that the ideas we need to choose, the right ones to move forward on, are not the ones long, drawn out, complicated, simple. They're the ones that we need to choose that light our heart up, that make us happy, that are fun, that make us feel good and passionate, and that bring us joy, and that are simple and easy and not complicated and instinctual here, and to go more towards that, which I thought was helpful. That then leads me now to the next alignment I want to mention. A month later, September of last year, 2024, we had a new moon in Virgo around the same time that Mercury was also finishing up retrograde, which it also did in Virgo and into Leo. This can be a little tiny of a roadblock here because, again, it's Mercury, a planet appearing to go backwards in the sky, that really needed to be resolved. And it was in the sign of Virgo, the new moon, and a little bit of Mercury retrograde here. Virgo is a lot about healing things, fixing things. Sometimes, to me too, it can also indicate guilt and shame because Virgo feels a strong tendency to be perfect or have everything work out in a certain way. So I think what happened in September of 2024 is that we realized, yes, we need to choose the option to move forward that's happy, fun, joyful, simple, easy, short, but that we feel guilty and ashamed for doing things easy, for doing things simple, like we're not doing enough, or doing things right, or doing things perfect, or doing things better. Here, that's going on that we really needed to heal and work through. Okay, then that leads me now to the next new moon. A month later, October of last year, 2024, it was a new moon solar eclipse here in the sign of Libra on the South Node. And new moons are new beginnings. Eclipses can superpower that. And the South Node's about letting things go. And it's in Libra, which is about overthinking, hesitating, holding back, codependency, waiting too much on others, compromising. So I think what happened in October of 2024 is that we realized not only do we need to heal and let go of guilt and shame around doing things short, easy, fun, happy, but we also needed to stop hesitating when it comes to doing what we love, overthinking things, and over compromising and being codependent and waiting on other people in order for us to do all this stuff that was in our heart here, and to let go of that, which I think we did. That then leads me now to the next alignment. Happened the next month, November of last year, 2024. We had a new moon in the sign of Scorpio. New moons are new beginnings. Scorpio is about permanent change and transformation within ourselves, especially. So I think in November of 2024, we more permanently changed within ourselves to embody and embrace this different way of life that we realized in August, which is to go about life and choose the options that are more fun, easy, quick, short, fun, passionate, all of that, and to go more with our instincts and impulses. Okay, that then leads me now to the next alignment. It happened the next month, December of 2024. We then had a new moon in the next sign over, Sagittarius. Here, new moons are about new beginnings. Sagittarius is sure about new things, so doing things differently, but it's also too about hope and faith and belief and adjusting our hope, our beliefs towards a different way of being as well. So in December of 2024, we were trying to continue to do things in this shorter, easier, quicker, more fun, passionate, exciting way, and to adjust our beliefs and our ideas to believe that it will work, to believe that this shorter, easier, quicker, fun, passionate way would work, even if it didn't look like it, and even if it was difficult for us to do. Okay, that then leads me now to the next alignment I want to mention, which was also December of 2024, but like the very last day of December, but was December of 2024. That was the last new moon we had 2 weeks ago here in the sign of Capricorn. What is that about? New moons are about new beginnings. It's in Capricorn. Capricorn is a lot about structure. It's a lot about discipline. It's a lot about commitment. Not only that, but I also consider Capricorn 2 to be about the past and endings as well. I consider it to be about the past and endings because it's the 10th sign of the zodiac here, not the first. Okay, not only that, but also 2, because Capricorn is a cardinal sign. It is the first sign of a season, and the first sign of the season it's in is winter. It begins winter in the northern hemisphere, which is where the ancient astrologers were based on, and they came up with a lot of the meanings of things. And winter is not about new growth. Winter is about things dying. Okay, it's about things dying here and all of that. So I think that this new moon in Capricorn in December of 2024 was about us committing more to tying up any old thing from the past, any old bottlenecks from the past that were preventing us from more fully embracing this new way of life that we were believing in more, that was fun, more passionate, more excitable here as well, and going about that. Okay, and that then now leads me to the next alignment, the last one here that's happening, for which this video is for, that full moon in Cancer here on January 13th. What is that about? Full moons are about stepping into things more fully. Cancer, again, a stability, security, a strong foundation here, and also being a cardinal sign about a change, our lives changing directions. So what I think is trying to go on now, January, this full moon in Cancer, is that we're now trying to feel more stable and more secure and more grounded after trying to end some final bottlenecks that were in the way of this more happy, fun way of life here, and to see our lives more fully change direction away from the old, away from the past, and into the new here that's going on, and to feel more comfortable with that as it happens. Okay, and that's where we are for now. That's where we are at the moment. We've caught up. Because that's it, I'm going to try to repeat that, summarize that very briefly the best I can before we move on. So I'm going to do that. What I think has been going on really for the past 5 years now, since 2020, is that we've been trying to end just a lot of things in our life that have gone on for many years that no longer resonate with us, so that we can move into a different and better experience of life. And it's been hard for us to do because it's been one issue after the other. First, it was hard for us to move forward into a different and better experience of life because we had some debts we needed to pay off, some things with relationships we needed to take care of here, and some emotional challenges we needed to work through. Once we resolved those, then it was another issue that revealed itself, which is that we weren't following our heart and in touch with our heart and letting our happiness and joy kind of take over. And then the next issue that started to arise was that we didn't really know, after we resolved that, which idea to pursue to move us forward here that's going on. And we've recently started to resolve that issue and to realize that the idea we need to pursue is, yes, one that's in touch with our heart, but also easier and simpler here. And we're trying to move forward now, but before we can move forward, there's some final bottlenecks from the past we have to take care of, that we're trying to take care of and work through and feel better about, so that we can move on. Okay, and that's it. Because that's it, I'm now going to zoom back into this full moon itself so you can get more specific details about what's going on here. So let me do that. In order to talk again more about this full moon in Cancer, I do want to place it on the chart again so that you can see it. So let me do that. Here is the sun in Capricorn making an exact opposition over here to the moon in Cancer, which is the full moon. Okay. Now, I did talk about at the beginning this full moon in Cancer being about us stepping more fully into a stronger foundation in a new and different experience of life with more comfort. Okay, but before I talk more about that, I want to make sure we understand the sun in Capricorn here, especially for those of you who didn't listen to that summary, because I think that might help you a bit. What I want to say about this is that Capricorn is, to me, again, it's not about new beginnings. Capricorn to me is about the past. Okay, even though I know it's the beginning of the year, Capricorn to me is about the past because it's the 10th sign of the zodiac, not the first. The 10th is ending the zodiac. And not only that, but Capricorn is a cardinal sign. It starts winter in the northern hemisphere, which is where the ancient astrologers were. Okay, winter is not about things growing, it's about things dying. It's about things ending. So the sun, where the core of our being is in Capricorn, about us resolving things from the past. Not only that, Capricorn's about commitment, it's about integrity, it's about decisions, it's about us going back to that. So I want to make sure that you all are understanding the context of this, that yes, at this full moon in Cancer, we're trying to feel more grounded in a different experience of life, more safe and more comfortable. And the reason why we're trying to feel more grounded, safe, and comfortable in a different experience of life is because over the course of the past 2 weeks, especially since that last new moon in Capricorn, we've been trying to end things from the past that have been bottlenecking our progress and keeping us stuck, right? Do you see? And because we've been trying to end those things from the past and been keeping us stuck, this full moon in Cancer is like, all right, let me feel good. Now that I've ended this stuff, let me feel settled. Let me feel settled. Let me feel stable. Let me feel secure. Let me feel grounded in this different place of life and make it more cozy. Okay. So keep that in mind here. If you didn't watch my context, even though there's a lot more that I said there. The next thing that I want to look at here is also going to be, about this full moon is going to be with the sun. The sun is making a little bit of a grand earth trine here. There's a little bit of a kite going on here with this full moon in Cancer. We've got the sun here in Capricorn making a trine over here to Uranus and Taurus at the same time that it's making a little bit of a trine here, Uranus and Taurus, over to the south node. In Virgo, at the same time, the south node, which just entered Virgo, is making a trine over here to the sun. So we've got a grand earth trine, all the earth signs connecting here. And trines, not only that, but these earth signs here, the south node in Virgo is making a sextile over here to the moon, and Uranus and Taurus is making a sextile. So we've got a little bit of a kite here that's going on, which I do consider to be a positive aspect. I do consider to be a positive aspect because this is a grand earth trine and you've got all the earth signs connecting, which I think does tend to be more helpful more often than not, since all the earth signs are a little bit in common and see something similarly, and a trine can be more helpful. Not only do I like it because of that, but also because the sextiles too, to me, are a positive aspect as well. Kind of helping these things come together. So this to me is a very good thing. What is the good thing going on? Well, let's start back here with the sun in Capricorn, right? That's about ending things from the past, in my opinion, and committing to doing that here. That's going on. It's making a trine to the south node. The south node is a lot about releasing things, letting things go, right? It's in Virgo, which is also about our physical reality, being an earth sign, habits, routines, things like that. That's happening. The trine can make that happen nicely and easily. In addition to that, we've got Uranus and Taurus here as well. That's going on. Taurus is about new beginnings. It's about fertility and abundance, being the second sign of the zodiac. It's also about aligning with the truth of our being, our core, and what's authentic to us, with Uranus here that is involved. And again, a trine can indicate something happening more easily or more naturally here that's going on. So in many ways, this is a good thing that's happening here. The past is releasing in a very physical, tangible way to set us up for new and different experiences that are more fertile here and that are going to be more true to our core, to our identity, to our authentic self here, and in order to move us forward. So our efforts to end old things are working out, and I think they're working out well, and I think that they're working out nicely. Okay, but even though that's wonderful, I love that, I do not want to discount that. I do need to note some other things here about this grand earth trine. Okay, a few things about this grand earth trine here that I want to note is that even though this is very good here, the south node just entered the sign of Virgo, and usually it takes some time once a planet or once something enters a new sign to fully catch up to speed. It doesn't necessarily play out all at once. Not only that, but the south node is not fully going to make this trine to Uranus till April. So even though it's in orb, you could say now, what is it, like 6 degrees away, it's not actually going to complete this grand earth trine per se, even though the sun will trine it much sooner, until April. Okay, so it's a good thing that's happening, right? We are releasing, to put it together, old things from the past. Okay, it's working to set us up for new storylines, new experiences here, but it's a process that's starting now, going well, gonna take until April to fully complete. And I think with some other things going on in the astrology July, once Jupiter enters Cancer, April to July. Not only that, but I also want to note as well, even though this is a great alignment, trines and sextiles, which is what is happening here, to me are I don't know if I want to say minor alignments, but less significant than some of the others. If we're doing a hierarchy of alignments, of aspects, of which ones we're going to feel more so than others, in my opinion, conjunctions, squares, and oppositions, we feel first. Okay, the trines and the sextiles, even though they can be quite nice, are secondary alignment. Sometimes they get buried under the others, and that's because trines and sextiles are more free-flowing alignments. They happen more easily and naturally, and sometimes when things happen easily and naturally, we take it for granted. We do not notice it as much. Here, that's going on. Okay? So what that means to me now, to continue to bring it together here, is that at this full moon in Cancer, here, we are trying to release a lot of blockages from the past, bottlenecks that have been keeping us stuck so that we can move forward and feel more safe, more secure, more grounded in a different and better experience of life. It is working. It is going quite well here for us to release these old things and set us up for something new, different, and better. But even though it is working and going quite well, it is just now starting the beginning of a process, which is not going to finish yet until April and July, which we may not fully be acknowledging that it's a process, or that good things are happening, or seeing clearly that's going on, or may take for granted that it's occurring here. Okay, that then leads me now to the next alignment that I want to mention, which is going to be back to this full moon itself, which we have going on here conjunct Mars retrograde here in the sign of Cancer. Okay, this to me is a very significant alignment. Why? Well, for one, it's a conjunction. Right? Conjunctions we're going to feel more strongly than the trines and sextiles. Not that trines and sextiles aren't great. Remember, not that they're not great. It's just they sometimes are so easy and flowing we don't see them, or we take them for granted here. Okay, that's going on. And not only that, but we as humans tend to also focus on the negative. So this is more significant. Not only is this more significant, but again, this to me is a little bit of a challenge, bringing more of our focus to this than the good stuff that I just mentioned, even though something good is going on. Okay, what is the more significant challenge that's happening, or why is it a challenge? Let me start with that. This is a bit difficult because Mars is involved. Mars is traditionally considered a malefic planet by ancient astrologers, which can be a little more difficult to handle than some of the others. Not only that, Mars is here in Cancer, a sign it does not like to be in, and does not function that well. Functions even worse than it would otherwise. In addition to that, it's retrograde, okay, which also is not a helpful thing. So a very significant challenge that our attention is going to be more on than this good stuff that is happening, okay? What is the difficulty here? Well, Mars tends to push things. It's a planet of action. It really wants things to occur and to happen. It's in Cancer. Cancer is that stability, it's that security, it's that groundedness, especially in a new, different, and better experience where we feel safe and comfortable. The Mars really wants that. Not just a little bit of that, it wants a lot of that. Push really hard for that here to happen, okay, to make that happen. Not only that, but Mars, because it wants stuff so much, a little pushy, can be a little impatient. It wants it now. I don't want to wait till April or July for this grand Earth trine kite thing to finish. I want to feel safe now. I want to feel secure now. I want to feel in the new life now. I want it now, more. Here, that's going on. Here, that can happen, okay, and make us impatient. Not only that, but again, Mars does not like to be in Cancer, so that it can make our desire and our drive and to be safe, to be secure, not happen, not occur. It's not like I want safety, security more now, done. It's like, no, I want more safety. I want more security. I want it now. I'm getting impatient. I do not have it. I do not have it. I do not know how to get it. I do not know how to make it fully happen here. How to make it happen faster, right? That's the thing. How to make it happen, because it is happening, right? We are getting there. We don't know how to make it happen now faster, on our terms, on our timeline. Maybe to our own human strength, right? Mars has to do with willpower, not the divine, not our willpower, what we can do for ourselves. So do you see here, there's a lot more I'm going to say about this, but do you see here what's going on? We're ending old things that have been bottlenecking us, keeping us stuck from moving forward into a better experience. So that we can actually move into a different and better experience. And it is working. It is working to end these old things and to move us forward. However, it's a process. That's not going to happen overnight. That's not going to happen all at once. It's going to take a few more months. I think between April and July to fully finish here that's going on. And we don't want to wait till April or July to have this process finished because it doesn't feel safe. You see, it doesn't feel safe. It doesn't feel secure to be in between the old life and the new, to wait a few more months for things to work out. We want it to happen now, to feel now like we're in the new, like we're in the different, like we're in the better place of life. And we're trying everything we can to speed the process up because we're getting impatient and to do what's in our willpower to do, and it's just not working. Not only that, but another thought I'll give you here, this is a big deal here. Mars tends to push things. Cancer is very sensitive, has a lot of emotion, so it can trigger us emotionally, bring up a lot of fear, bring up a lot of insecurity here as well. Not only that, it can bring up a lot of emotional frustration, especially about the past, right? Cancer can be somewhat backwards looking. The sign of the past can bring up a lot of fear, insecurity, frustration around the past, maybe even sadness, emotion. The water sign, the water works here with what's going on. Not only that, but it can also bring up a lot of anger here too, right? Mars can be about anger or passive aggressiveness here as well, right? And let's not forget, Cancer is symbolized by the crab, right? And crabs will snap at you. They will snap at you. And it's not pretty here when that happens. So this can create a lot of crabby emotions here and frustration that can be very hard. Not only that, but it can also too make us act out Mars action in unhelpful ways. Like what? Like what? Out of fear. Okay, Mars is in Cancer, ruled by the crab. The crab does not face things head on. A lot of times it moves side to side. So this can make us sidestep things or not hit things head on or do things in strange ways. Not only that, but again, Cancer is backwards looking about the past, so it can make us fall back into old habits and patterns as well. That can also be unhelpful, okay? So are you getting more and more of what's happening at this full moon in Cancer? We're trying to release old things, old big bottlenecks in 2020 that have been keeping us stuck so we can move into a different and better experience of life. That's happier, fun, all of that. And feel more safe and secure and grounded in that. And it is in fact working to release this old stuff and to move forward. But it's a process. That's not going to happen in one day. That's not going to happen in 1 week. That's not going to happen overnight. That's going to take, I think, till April to July to finish. Okay. And because it's a process that's not going to happen overnight, we feel unsettled, we feel insecure, we feel unsafe. It's hard to be not in the old, but not quite in the new. And we don't like that. We want to feel safe and secure now here, because we're getting impatient and we're getting afraid and we're getting fearful and we're getting triggered. So we may act out to try, out of fear, to try to get that safety and security within our own human willpower to try to move our situation forward, and it may just backfire because of course we're afraid and it's not coming from a really pure place, and may act sideways, too much in the past, old habits, and get mad, angry, sad, upset, snappy, all of that. Okay, tired, make us tired too. I should note that. Okay, that then leads me now to the next alignment I want to mention, which is going to be the fact that this full moon, including the sun and the moon, are both making a square over here to Chiron in the sign of Aries. This is also a bit difficult here because it's two squares, make an aspect to it, and it's Chiron, which also tends to be known as a little bit more difficult. Here, what is the difficulty? Well, Chiron has to do with fears, triggers, and insecurities. Okay, Aries is also about action and about moving forward, being a Mars ruled sign. We know Mars is here. Also as well, the first sign of the zodiac about new beginnings, moving into new and different things. So this is another indicator here that we're not having luck pushing things, right? Because the Aries will want to push, and the Mars, we're not having luck pushing things, using our willpower to do more, to move things faster, to get into a new experience. It's just not working here. This is also more triggers, more fears, more insecurities about it. And this can also bring stuckness. Aries stuckness. I'm trying to do everything that I have in my willpower that I know how to do, right? It's just not working. It's just not working. It's backfiring, more stuck here. That can be very hard. Okay. That then leads me now to the next alignment I'm going to mention here, which is Venus. We've got Venus in Pisces conjunct Saturn in Pisces. I like Venus in Pisces because Venus is exalted there. But even though I like Venus in Pisces, I just don't think we're fully able to tap into it because the Saturn is restricting it. And then the North Node also just moved into Pisces on Saturday, a day or two before this full moon. And the North Node, we also don't tend to do that well. It takes us some time to get to. So I think that there could be something good going on here, but we're just not able to fully get there. What is the good thing that could be going on? Venus in Pisces. Venus is about ourselves, relationships, money, and ease, and receiving things. And it's in Pisces, which is about compassion, peace, surrender, trust. And Saturn is restricting that, blocking that here, especially with the North Node, making that very hard for us to do here at this time. So to continue bringing it together, do you see? We're trying to release the past blockages once and for all. Right? We've been dealing with a lot of blockages since 2020. We're trying to release past blockages since 2020 once and for all, so that we can move forward into a new, different, and better experience where we feel more safe, more comfortable, more secure, more like home, more like we belong there. And it's working. It's freaking working here, I think, quite well to happen, to get us out of this old stuff and into a new stuff. It's just a process that's going to take from now until April to July to fully finish. And even though it's working and even though it's a process, us being in this in-between space, not quite out of the old, not quite in the new, between now and April or July, it feels really uncomfortable and feels really triggering and is bothering us. And because it feels really uncomfortable and really triggering to be in this in-between space, I think we're trying to take matters into our own hands and force things or do things to make this transition happen differently, better, faster, quicker, in whatever way we think it should happen. And that's just not working. And our actions are backfiring, and they're backfiring because they're based on really fear and not on what needs to happen for the situation. And we're not tackling these things head on. And maybe we're still have some old habits and patterns that are going on that's making us just emotional and snappy and overwhelmed and exhausted and frustrated and triggered and just feel stuck. Like anything that we ever try to do just doesn't work, that's going on. And instead of us surrendering and being at peace and trusting the process about the situation, we're not able to do that. We're really struggling to surrender. We're really struggling to trust the process. We're really struggling to relax and to be patient with the process and compassionate to ourselves, making us feel uneasy and uncomfortable. Okay. Now I'm going to go on to the next, which is alignment I want to mention, which is that this Venus and Saturn and Pisces here are also making a square over to Jupiter and Gemini. This to me is also difficult. Okay, because it's a square, a hard aspect, and we've got Jupiter here in Gemini, a sign it does not like to be in. What is the difficulty here that's going on? Well, for one, I'll say this, Jupiter and Gemini, right? Gemini's the twins, two worlds. We're stuck in two worlds. So I'm not quite in the old, I'm not quite in the new, I'm in between, have and have. Uncomfortable here, especially with Jupiter, where it doesn't like to be. Jupiter wants to go all in on one thing and make that very big. And here we are stuck in two. So there's more of this frustration and anxiety about all of this. Not only that, but Gemini has to do with adapting to something, making it more familiar, which we're obviously struggling to do. And it's also an air sign ruled by Mercury, having to do with our mind here, to think about things, make sense of things. So we're also struggling to do that, to really think about and make sense of our situation, and maybe feeling a little confused or unclear mentally as well about our situation, right? Everything I'm trying, it's not working. And I don't feel at ease, and I don't know why. I don't know why it's not working. I feel confused. What can I do? And can even make our mind overthink. Jupiter, too much think, overthink, especially with the South Node in Virgo. Overthink too much here about how to fix our situation or how to get out of it here. That can also make things just even more confusing here. That's happening at this time. That's going on. Okay. So do you see? I'm about to switch to advice, but let me just summarize this before I give you some advice. What's going on at this full moon in Cancer is that we're trying to finally finish resolving any old roadblocks, bottlenecks that have been keeping us stuck since 2020. There are a few, from moving forward into a different and better experience of life that feels more safe, more secure, more grounded, more like home, more like family. Okay? We're trying to do that. And if you ask me, it's working. It is working. We are doing it. We are succeeding at resolving these old blockages and coming into a new and better experience. However, this is not an overnight process. This is a slower process that is going to take at least until April to July to fully complete, to move us forward. And even though it's going well, this process that won't complete until April to July doesn't feel good, because it feels unstable. It feels uncertain to be half in the old and half in the new, or not in the new old and not in the new that's going on. That's making us feel very unsafe, very insecure, very uncomfortable and fearful. And because it feels very uncomfortable and very fearful and afraid to be half in the new and half in the old and not where we want to be and no certainty, we then are getting impatient. And we may act out a fear to force our situation using our own willpower and human mind to happen faster, better, differently, to get into this new experience more, faster, better, so that we don't have to deal with this uncertain energy. And that's backfiring. These actions that we're taking are backfiring to move us forward faster into a different experience. And they're backfiring because they're based on fear. They're backfiring because they're based on our own human willpower and mind. They're also backfiring as well because we're not really facing things head on. And maybe we're also still falling back in old habits and patterns. It's making us exhausted, overwhelmed, triggered, upset, frustrated, and making it really hard for us to be at peace and to be at ease and to trust the process and to surrender, and is making us feel like anything we do doesn't work. Anything we do, it just doesn't work, and is making us very confused. Excuse me, about how to make it work and about how to kind of overcome this mess here that's going on. Okay. That then leads me now to the advice I think I want to give you here about how to finally resolve all of this that's going on. And the advice I want to give you is going to be based on a few things, but I think I'm going to focus it mostly on the North Node, which just moved into Pisces a day or two before this full moon in Cancer. Okay. I want to focus on the North Node in Pisces first and foremost as advice, because the North Node to me is a lot about our destiny, what we're working towards at this time or moving towards here or need to accomplish more of. That we don't always do at first. That sometimes takes us the whole transit of the North Node throughout the sign to work through. So I want to interpret this as advice. What is that? Well, Pisces is a lot about trust. It's a lot about patience and a lot about surrendering to the divine, to a higher power. So I think part of the advice here is that we really need to learn to trust the process, right? Because things are going well. I mean, you remember that. Things are going well. We are coming out of an old experience and into a new one. We just need to trust the process and let it happen and be patient and surrender to it. And not only is that what Pisces is a lot about, but I think Pisces too, it's about, maybe to take the surrender a tad step further, is about the divine, and it's about divine timing, and it's about divine's ways. God's ways, not our human ways here on earth, not our human mind, which maybe you can consider the South Node in Virgo. It's about divine timing and the divine ways, and that God's timing is not our timing and God's ways are not our ways. So not only is there a need to just chill, things are working, things are going fine, even if they're not happening as fast as you might like or in the way that you might like, and to trust and to surrender to the process and to be patient, but to realize that God is in control. The divine is in control. The angels are in control. And this situation is not going to happen how you want it. It's going to happen how God wants it and in God's own timing, right? And that's why part of our actions aren't working. Do you see? That's why part of our actions of forcing things isn't working, partially because of fear. We're not facing things head on, but partially because it's God's turn now to finish. It's God's turn now to take over. And we need to stop freaking out and let God, spirit, the angels, divine, the universe, whatever you believe, finish the job here and do what needs to be done here. So we need to let go of our ideas of how things should play out and get more on God's wavelength here of how things actually are going to play out at this time. Okay, and not only do I think there's some of that, but Pisces is also a lot about spirituality. It's also a lot too about creativity. It's also a lot about spirituality and creativity, because spirituality and creativity helps us to trust, to surrender, right? Because when you're being spiritual, you're learning about the divine, about how it works. When you're being creative, you're not thinking about how sad your life is or how unsafe you feel about your life. You're in this more flow state. So it's also too about pursuing spirituality, right? Meditation, whatever that means for you, prayer, or creativity in order to work through it. Not only that, but Pisces is also a lot about compassion too. This can be compassion towards ourselves, right? First and foremost, be kind to yourself. If everything you're doing to move your life forward isn't working and you're at a loss, be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Don't try to work harder. Don't try to, just be kind to yourself. Okay, not only that, it's also about compassion towards other people. The Pisces Virgo axis can be one of service, selfless service. So part of the advice too is to help other people. If you can't figure out your life sometimes, right? Not all the time, but if you can't figure out your life, sometimes helping someone else with theirs can give you a different perspective on your life that can loosen things up. Not only can sometimes helping someone else with theirs and weirdly help you out to give you a different perspective, but you helping someone else with their life could be their divine timing, could be their divine gift of God, hand of God, trying to fix their life over the course of the next few months as well. So part of it is that. Not only is that but Pisces is not a sign of overworking. It's not a sign of striving and trying more things. I have to do more. No, Pisces is about resting, taking it easy. If what you're doing isn't working to make your situation happen any faster, stop it. Stop trying to do so much. Let God take care of it. Trust that God's got a plan. The angels have a plan. The universe is going to plan that you can't rush. It's going to happen in divine timing, and allow that to happen. And in the meantime, be spiritual, be creative, so that you can stop freaking out here and help other people, because maybe you're the gift to them, and chill. Okay. I think that's a big part of what needs to happen here. Okay. Not only that, but other pieces of advice I'll give you based on other things. Pisces is also a sign of healing your emotions. So too is Chiron, being the apex, right, of this T-square here too. So maybe there's also a need as well at this full moon to spend time kind of trying to heal or work through any of your emotional challenges here, instead of ignoring or avoiding them, to really face some healing that you need to do as well. Not only that, but we've got the moon here in, of course, in Cancer, where it likes to be, and the full moon is in Cancer. The moon's about nurturing yourself too, which sometimes can make us feel safer in an unsafe situation. And nurturing ourselves through what? I mean, maybe going to bed early, or eating good food, or taking a shower, going on walks, just little things that make you feel good emotionally. So that's also some of the advice there as well, to focus too on nurturing yourself and making yourself feel safe. Not only that, but another thought too about Cancer, right? Cancer too is about motherhood, right? That's what we typically associate it with. And sometimes when I think of motherhood, right, you think of childbirth. You can't rush that process. It's going to happen however long it needs to happen, whether you want it to happen 6 months in, 7 months, it doesn't matter. It's going to happen the time it needs to happen. So I think that another indicator of you got to let the birthing process complete here. And if you try to stop this process before it's ready, or move it along too fast, it's like the baby may not be birthed right. You know what I mean? So there's another symbol here about that. Another thought that I think I want to offer too. Cancer, the past. Cancer is about the past. Pisces too is about the past too. So I think another thought here as well is chill on the new things, and just let the past take its time to work out that it needs, and to let that happen as well, because I think that's going to make it go a lot better. Okay. And I think that's it, because that's all I'm going to say there about, I think, the astrology, the aspects, the advice. I'm now just going to repeat all of that one last time. So let me do that now. What I think is going on here at this full moon in Cancer is that we are in the process of releasing a lot of old things, especially from the past 5 years, that have been the final bottlenecks that have been keeping us stuck from moving forward into a new, different, and better experience that we feel safer at, more comfortable with, stronger, and more grounded. And it is, in fact, working, if you ask me, quite well. Quite well. It is working to end these old things and move us forward. But even though it is working quite well, it is a process that will take a few more months to play out, and won't fully complete, so to speak, until April to July of this year. And the fact that this is a process of this working out is making us feel very uncertain and very ungrounded and very insecure, because we're not in the old, but we're not yet in the new, and we're in the bit of an in-between space. And that is triggering us a lot. And not only is it triggering us a lot, it's bringing up a lot of fears and making us very impatient, wanting to make this process happen faster. That's not meant to complete until April and July. Make it happen faster. And we're trying to take matters into our own hands to push the situation along according to our own human will, our own human mind. And it's backfiring. It's backfiring here because really that's not the way the divine plan is meant to go and wants it to go. It's also backfiring because we're acting from fear and insecurity here, and because we are sidestepping issues or maybe still getting stuck in old habits and patterns, and that's making us feel exhausted, overwhelmed, stuck, feeling sad for ourselves, uncertain of what to do, like nothing that we're doing is working to get us to where we want to go, unable to rest and be at ease and feel comfortable, and maybe even confused within our mind, unsure of what to think here that's going on. That can obviously be very hard. Okay. And what I think we're learning, or what I think is meant to happen at this time, is not for us to get sucked down into all these negative alignments, which is what there's a lot of. Instead, it's for us to realize that our ways are not God's ways. And that even though we want this process to happen sooner, to get to a new life, like ASAP, God has a different plan that may take a little bit longer to work out between April to July, or angels, the universe, or whatever. And that God's plan, and to have trust, hope, and faith that God's plan is actually going to be better for us. Not what we thought, but going to be better for us, and to have hope and faith and to surrender to that, and to stop trying to control and to overdo and to plan and to force things, and to just relax and let and allow things to happen. And while we're surrendering and letting God do its thing, to focus on spirituality, prayer, meditation, to keep us in a calm place of peace, to focus on creativity, to distract us and put us in more of a happy flow state here that's going on, or to help someone else who's struggling, because that may take our mind off of us or give us a different perspective, or we may be God's divine gift to them in order to help them with their divine timing over the course of the next few months as well, and to nurture ourselves through this process with sleep, good cooking, care, showers, things like that here, and to maybe heal some emotional challenges. Because if we can do that, right, to bring it all together, if we can do that, things are going just fine, and they will continue to go just fine. And come April to July of this year, we will be in a different, better experience, and it will feel more solid and secure. The things we want right now will happen if we just chill and surrender and trust and give it time to play itself out, because some things cannot be forced here. They must work themselves out in their own way and time. Okay. And that's it. Okay. Because that's it, I now like to say just a few other things about this energy in my own way, or in my own words, since I am kind of beholden to the aspects when I go through that. What do I want to say here? Maybe I'll just summarize it very quickly and then add a few other thoughts. Okay. Yeah, do I want to? Sorry, it takes me a minute. I don't plan these out ahead of time. Okay. Well, all right, let me just catch myself up. We are, sorry. We are, right, coming out of an old experience into a new one. It's just taking a lot longer. Okay, I think here's a thought I want to give you. I feel like for the past 5 years, I'm just going to give you a thought now. I feel like for the past 5 years, especially if you've been following my horoscopes and if you've been listening to the context that I gave you in this video, we have been trying to come out of an old experience and into a new chapter of life. This is nothing new. If you've been watching my horoscopes for the past 5 years now, this is nothing new. It's been like a broken record over and over and over and over again. Okay. And I feel like over the course of the past 5 years, we've tried everything, almost everything, a lot of things to get us out of this old experience and to get us into a new one here. And I feel like some of it's worked, but I feel like a lot of it still hasn't, or a lot of it still feels like I'm still stuck. I'm still not where I want it to be at this time. And I feel as though the next few months from April to July is a few things. Is a lot of that stuff from the past few years finally starting to work and finally sorting itself out, and us finally starting to integrate it within ourselves emotionally here. Okay, it's that starting to work. it's just going to take time, right? It just takes time for everything to process and everything to come together. Not only do I want to say that, but I also feel that while these things are finally coming together from the past 5 years to actually work and integrate to move us forward, it's also God starting to say, you don't need to do more, or you don't need to do that much more. Maybe there's a little, you don't need to do that much more. I got it from here. Let me take it from here. So especially now with the North Node moving into Pisces. So I think that that's part of the thought that I want to say. We're coming out of an old experience, okay, that we've really been trying to get out of since 2020 and into a new and better experience. And that new and better experience will manifest April to July that we've been trying to get to, and it will feel very good, very safe, very solid, very secure. Okay, but it's just not happening yet, right? But it is happening. It is happening yet, but it is a process of happening between now and April, July. And what is happening between now and April, July is all of our efforts from the past few years are now going to finally start to come together to actually work. Because they didn't feel like they were working before, they're now all of a sudden going to start to come together to actually work, and it's just going to take time. That's all it is. It's just going to take time for that process to kind of work itself out, to get where it needs to go, and to give it the time. And we don't need to do much more as a result because we've already done what we've done. God's going to take it from here. So I don't know if this message is coming out clear, but that's the thought here. You don't need to do that much more to get your life into a new and different and better experience after this point. It's all been done. Okay? In the past 5 years, all you need to do now is just wait. Wait for all the stuff that you've been working on to finally catch up to you, to finally gel, to finally come together, and for God to step in and do its divine timing thing and work out. Okay? And for God to help redirect our course that's going on, and to just let go and let it happen. Okay, so I hope you all understand that. That's what's happening. Right? And I hope that in some ways this is a little bit of a different message, as it should be, with the nodes of changed signs than the past few years, right? And in some ways, especially the past year, right? The past year, especially with the North Node in Aries, if you've been watching my horoscope, is like, do stuff. Let's do stuff faster, easier, shorter, quicker. Come on. Well, now this full moon in Cancer with the North Node in Pisces, it's saying, no. You don't need to do anymore. You did it. You did it already. The past 5 years or the past year, even if it wasn't a lot, right? It was short, easy, quick, right? Even if it was just a little, you did it. You don't need to do anymore. Now you just need to wait. Wait for divine timing. Sometimes once you've done all that you can do, the next step is to just wait and let it happen, right? Okay, so huge message here. Once you've done all that you can do, all that's left is to wait and trust that it will work out. Okay, even if it's slow, even if it's scary, even if it doesn't feel like it. Okay, what else do I want to say? Is there another message here? Some of you may feel like, I'm getting also a sense that some of you may feel like, okay, I've tried everything and it's not working, right? Or isn't working yet, or doesn't feel like it's working, or something like that. You know, so it's like, okay, I get it. All I can do is wait. But there may be some of you that are thinking, I feel like I didn't do the right things, right? There could be a sense of that too, of like, okay, I did a lot, and for some reason it's not working, right? And now it's going to work. You just have to wait and let spirit take over. But there's another group of you, I hope you can follow my thinking on this. There's another group of you that's like, well, I tried to do what I needed to do to make things work. And not only did it not work, but I'm worried that I didn't do it right. That I didn't do it right, the way that I needed to be doing it, the way that I should be doing it, or that I didn't do whatever was needed, right? There's another group of you that's that, and I'm feeling that because the South Node in Virgo is extra critical, perfectionistic. Well, maybe I could have done it differently. Maybe I could have done it better. Maybe I could have done it this, okay? And another thought that I want to offer you is this: if you have been trying the best you can to be happier, to follow your heart, to get to an experience that is of the light, right? That truly resonates with you here, then to let yourself off the hook. You know, you can't get mad at yourself for not doing something that you consciously did not know to do, you know? So I think there's another thought here too. Not only like is the thought, the past few years haven't been in vain, even if it felt like it. It's now going to start to work. You just need to give it time to work and the divine to take over. But also as well, don't feel bad for the things you maybe think you didn't do right, especially if you were honestly trying to do right the past few years. Don't feel bad. Don't feel guilty. Don't feel ashamed. Here, God's not going to blame you or judge you, right, for not doing something you didn't know how to do when you were honestly trying. Here, to let yourself off the hook here, because that's not going to help you, move forward. Okay. Not only is that part of my thought here, but another thought process too is like the Pisces, right? Like what's missing, right? What's missing from the past few years? Okay. If some of you are beating yourself up, right? If some of you are beating yourself up of like something didn't happen that was right from the past year, what was missing? Well, the one thing that might have been missing now with the North Node in Pisces from the past few years is the surrender component, is like just letting God take over, just letting spirit take over, just saying like, okay, God, like I don't know what to do anymore. I'm going to let you guide me and direct me and take care of it. So that's another thought here that I want to offer you. Things are changing to be different and better now and over the course of the next few months, although it won't exactly happen until April to July. And God's stepping in to say, look, now I got this. You've done enough. Whether you thought it was good or not, or whether you're beating yourself up or not, I don't care. I forgive you. There's nothing wrong with whatever you did was fine, especially if you were trying. I don't hold anything against you. Now I got this. Now I'm going to take over. And now the only thing that's missing that you haven't done is surrendered to a divine timing and surrendered to a divine plan that's beyond our human way of thinking, right? That's the only thing that's left here to do that's going to take it to the next level, okay? And to trust that. Okay, so I think that that's where we're going with the North Node in Pisces. Okay. Okay, so do you understand? Sorry, my mind's not like super clear today. But this is what's happening, right? We are coming out of the old. We are going into the new. It's just a process that's going to happen from now until April to July to fully complete. And God is now saying to you, you've done enough. Especially if you've been trying the best that you can, you have now done enough. Let me take it from here. Let the divine work it out in my own divine timing. And I do not hold anything against you for what you did or did not do if you were honestly trying to get yourself in a better place. And the only thing that's now left for you to do that you have not tried is to just let spirit, the divine, God, a higher power, work it out in the way that I'm going to do and trust and have faith that it will be good. Okay. And to just relax while it's happening. Another thought here too, this might be the last one that I leave you with, is there's something about peace with the Pisces. Pisces is about peace and trust and surrender. And it's also in some ways, I think, about the journey, since Pisces used to be a Jupiter ruled sign before Neptune was discovered. I think there's also a message too of spirit trying to say as well, to be at peace with the journey as well, to not make this a scary thing, and to not over control or force, I think there's another message coming at this full moon in Cancer of like, not only stop trying, you've done fine. If you've honestly been trying to do good, I'm going to take over. I forgive you, whatever. But it's also trying to say, Spirit's also trying to say, and I don't want you to suffer through this process, right? Like, I don't want you to suffer from now until April. This is not meant to be scary suffering time. Something good is happening, so there's another message from the full moon in Cancer from Spirit saying, I want you to learn how to feel safe and at peace in the midst of uncertainty. And I want you to learn how to find joy in the midst of uncertainty, or the good, the light, the little small things that help you in the midst of uncertainty here. Because peace, gratitude is not a destination. It's part of the journey. Peace is not somewhere you all of a sudden end up when you get what you want, when things turn out good. Peace, gratitude, joy, appreciation of the small things is something that we can choose to make a part of the journey now. And the journey isn't meant to be sad. So I think that's the last message I'll leave with you too. Well, yeah, one of the last is that things are working. They're coming out of the old into the new. It's just going to take a few more months. You don't have to do much else. God's got it. God's going to take care of it now. And whatever you did or did not do, God is forgiven. And it wasn't even needed to be forgiven, right? Like, as long as you were honestly trying, God's going to work it now. All you have to do is trust and surrender and just let everything that you've done from the past few years gel and come together, and God work it out for your good here. And don't suffer during this process. This is not a suffering process. This is not, I'll have to suffer until the end. I'll suffer until April and July, and then I'll be happy, and then I'll be at peace. It's like, no, find peace now in the moment. Find joy now in the little things, that are going on here that's happening. Okay, and then the last thought I'll give you again with the Pisces is compassion. It's Pisces is outer planet, ruled by Neptune, an outer planet, as to where the North Node was in Aries, ruled by Mars, a personal planet. We're now going to the transpersonal planets, which are more about collective, banding together with other people. Now, I don't think that's really going to start to happen until the Aquarius, right? We need the North Node in Aquarius there, but there's also a message too of like, love one another, help one another, right? Like, we're all going through something, from the past few years, trying to figure it out. It's a time to start to love one another and help one another and be compassionate to one another here that's going on, because that too can help us keep the faith, can help us see the good in the little things here in order to turn these things around. So I think those are the messages that I have for you. Okay. I want to say there. I think that's it. So what could this look like as some examples? I think the examples might be pretty straightforward. I don't know if some of you all will need them, but for some of you, this could be like a home situation. Maybe some of you have recently like sold your home, but you haven't moved into a new home or whatever. And then this can put you into a little bit of an in-between space of like, I don't have my old home, but I don't have my new home. And now I'm just like in apartments or things like that. That's going on. That can feel kind of triggering, unstable. And the message is like, just trust that God's got you and it's going to make it right. It's going to make it right, and try your best to just find your place of peace throughout the process here that's going on, so it could be a situation like that. That's happening, some kind of in-between space with the homes. If it's not that, maybe this is like an in-between space with jobs. Maybe you don't like your job, but you haven't found a new one. Or maybe you recently quit your job, but the new one hasn't come together yet. You're in this in-between space, right? And it's God saying, chill. Will you trust me? Will you trust me to work it out here? The divine saying, I know how to make this work, and let me do my thing. Okay, maybe it's a business, maybe it's a business thing. Maybe some of you are trying to end a business and start another one, or change your business here that you have that's going on. Maybe you feel like you're kind of stuck somewhere in between. You're kind of changing the bit, but not really. And it's spirit saying, look, just chill. Okay, let it work itself out over the course of the next few months, and just be patient and trust and try your best to be at peace with the process, and to just enjoy and nurture yourself through it, to let it happen in the way that it needs to happen. Okay, what if this is this could be a relationship thing here that's going on? Maybe you're in between relationships. Maybe you're still kind of finishing a divorce here, but you're not able to date, or there's someone you're dating, but you can't date until you finish the divorce. Like maybe there's some weird in between thing going on here, and it's just like, chill, be patient. You gotta wait and be patient for these things, and let the divine take care of it. And time to stop trying to force things and make things happen faster with this and that. Let it play itself out. Maybe it's maybe it's some sort of other situations that are going on with relationships here. Maybe you're in a process with a relationship where you're trying to change that relationship to be something different and better, and you've both been working with each other to do it, and maybe you're kind of in an in-between space about it. And it's like, well, you just got to trust and listen to the divine to guide you and direct your steps, and to work that out with a relationship to kind of get you to where you need to go. It's a health situation. Maybe there's some of you you've been having a health issue, and you've kind of resolved the health issue, but you're not really feeling better yet, or in the new or something like that. And it's just like, chill, rest, relax, let God take care of it. As long as you're just trying your best to allow, like, to do God's will and allow spirit to direct your steps, like, you're going to be fine. Just chill, and just give it more time and create and find your peace now, because peace is healing. Do you understand? It's like, finding your peace now and finding your joy now instead of waiting for it to happen at the end when you get your result. It is healing. Peace brings healing. It heals the body. It heals relationships. Trust brings healing. It heals. Spirituality brings healing. These things, they bring the healing. And to delay the peace and compassion, might delay some of the healing here. So I think there's also some messages there. Okay. And in between space and a bunch of things. And it's like, just chill, find your peace, give it to spirit. Let spirit act on your behalf. And if you are going to act, make it from true spirit, messages from spirit, what God's will and not your way, the human way of doing things here. Okay. I hope that helps. I hope that made sense. I'm actually a North Node in Pisces. I'm a North Node in Pisces and a South Node in Virgo, and I'm a Mars in Pisces as well. So I'm like super excited. I love being a Mars and a North Node in Pisces. I have to say on a personal note that the North Node is actually why I really got into astrology as like being like a useful tool and really went down the rabbit hole with it. Maybe there were a few things. I think there were a few things that got me into astrology. One of them was that I have a 12th house stellium. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, that makes sense of everything in my life. Another thing is that I'm a Cancer rising at 22 degrees, right where this full moon is. And so that also explained a lot to me, especially about the 12th house planets. And then it was the North Node and Mars and Pisces that I was like, yes, feel this 100%. I actually feel more like a Pisces, I will say, than a Gemini, where I have tons of planets in Gemini. But it's a big reason why I got into astrology is because of the nodal axis. And this is a big reason why I got into evolutionary astrology, which is what I do by Jeffrey Wolf Green, which is the branch of astrology that focused specifically on the nodes, because I just felt them so deeply in my bones when I learned about astrology and realized that mine were in Pisces. So I really resonate with this. I'm really happy that it's here. I've got a lot of things that I've been working on for a long time, obviously involve astrology in my business, mostly, that I would like to come together, that I'm just hoping this really does help me to do. Here, I don't know if I'm quite ready to really talk about some of these things. It's been a journey. It's been a journey. And I feel like the past few years have definitely been like a big initiation into the Pisces energy for me. That's been going on. So I don't know if I'm ready to talk about it right now, but over the course of the next few months, hopefully I will here, and we'll see what happens. I don't know if my North Node in Pisces is going to make me have more insightful things to say or less, because sometimes it's hard to see yourself clearly. But we'll see. I thought I would share that. Yeah. All right. That's it for now. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look at your insight degrees. Yes. So let's pull that up on the screen here. The insight degrees were not written by me. They're written by someone else named Elias Lonsdale, but I find them very interesting to kind of just add more insight or add confirmation to some things we've been talking about here. He channeled these from Spirit. The full moon's at 23 degrees Cancer, but the planets are in motion. So I think 23, 24, and 25 can all be relevant. Let's look at 22. Yes. My ascendant's here, by the way. It says spacious, making room for new worlds to be born, new life to arise, the fountain of existence to be tapped, the center of things to become vital again. What does that mean to me? That a big thing that we're trying to do at this full moon in Cancer is new life, right? We want new things. Want to get to a new and better experience of life here, and to feel vital again, to feel strong, and to feel lively again. Okay. Let's read on. It says a global sensibility, universal dream, a brotherhood, sisterhood vision to repopulate the world with vital, fresh beings. This to me also speaks of unity, right? Universal, brotherhood, sisterhood. So not only at this full moon do we want to get to a new, better experience of life where we feel more vital, more strong, more lively, but we also want to unite with other people, bring people together here that's going on, maybe instead of feel so divided. Okay. says to find the place inside that is sustaining and renewing and to give it forth abundantly. Yeah, we want to feel more energetic. I'm getting the sense of like want to feel more awake. We want to stop feeling so tired here. So I think there's something to that. It says a certain spirit of destiny breakthroughs, something different, previously unsuspected. Okay, what is this to me? This is about spirit stepping in, divine will and divine timing. It's not going to work how we want it to work. It's going to work differently and better. So big message from this degree. We want a new life. We want to unite with people. We want to feel lively, energetic again, not so tired. I think it's going to happen here. There's going to be some sort of breakthrough. It's just not going to happen in the way that you want. Okay, diving for the eternal waters. Here they are if they called in at full power, the one given the task to refocus the shared aspirations to bring us all together. To me, that means this time is about refocusing our life, redirecting it towards something better. It says you have an utterly engaging quality that cannot be denied, the most memorable of touches and looks, the presence of the great goddess force at every level, accessible if dreamed up and invited in. Here's the great goddess, to me, a symbol of the divine feminine. The feminine doesn't push, it doesn't force, it doesn't rush, right? And that's a huge part here. Especially Cancer and Pisces are feminine signs, water signs. You know, it's a lot about trusting the process, right? Trusting the process and letting it work out on its own time here. And not forcing it. The cracking through at the peak time and place, all is revitalized, everything forgotten comes on the spiral to the next. So, right, and Mars is going to go retrograde over this degree, I'm pretty sure. So it's going to work to help us move on over time with the retrograde, right? It's just going to take a minute. Let's read Cancer 23. It says nothing works anymore. The form of things is breaking apart. In your mind's eye, you can remember how it once went. You can certainly try to put it back together as it was. Okay, this to me speaks to the past of like looking back at the past, sad about the past, nostalgic about the past. This could be the past 35 years, or it could just be the past few years. Maybe I could have done this better. Maybe there was this I could have done, maybe I could have made this work. There's something about that that's going on here. Says there's something about doing this, going back to the past, that teaches you all kinds of things. And when you are called inside to reconstruct the old world and somehow keep it together one way or another, you must do it. One lesson you'll eventually learn is how the mind works and why it is convinced that this task is so very necessary. But meanwhile, there is an elegant sophistication and a cultured touch and sensibility that provides entry into so many fascinating worlds, karmic recapitulation. So what this means to me, to continue bringing it together, is that we're trying to move into new worlds. More people united, more lively, more fresh. It is going to happen, just maybe not in the way we thought it would here. But before it can happen, there may be a lot of things about the past that we regret or feel bad about or feel sad about here that's weighing on us, that we may be going back in our mind trying to replay. How can I fix this? How can I make this better? That's not going to help, right? It's not going to help us move forward. Regretting and thinking about that, not going to help us move forward, but may teach us a lot about ourselves here. To bring things together, teach us a lot about ourselves. So this is going back to the same places to do the same things can be quite a story to tell. Every bit of it is ebbing as it happens, right? You can't go back to the past. All of your constructions in mind and outer form cannot hold on much longer, but the ego mind is most tenacious and insistent, and such destiny verges, hoping to postpone the deluge one more delicious moment. So moving forward, but still tempted backwards here. Regret, worry, wanting to fix things, wanting to maybe go back to the way things were. It's not going to work. The past is gone. We can't go back to the way things were. We need to let go. Even though, and right, sorry, here's another thought. Like what stands out to me the most is the trying and the failing, right? It's like trying to fix things and failing. And that's also a main theme that I think stands out to me about this full moon in Cancer. We're trying to make our lives go the way we want it to go according to our plan, and it's not going to work. It's like you can try as much, there's a sense of the energy, you can try as much as you want, whether it's the past or the future, to make things work, but the divine is going to do it the way the divine wants to do it, especially now and over the course of the next few months. And you can try to make things happen the way you want. It's just not going to work. And you're going to have to learn a big lesson as a result of all of this over the course of the next few months, which is to let go and to let God. So another thought there. Okay, and then we'll get the last one, Cancer 24. The inward temple held in tune, sitting in celestial juices, beheld by the gods as a pillar of light, defiant of time's cycles, invested with the life pulse, immortal, as serene and effortless as it is constant and true, making way for what cannot be foreseen, and giving voice to a sensibility that is entirely pregnant with worlds within worlds held intact and offered up upon the altar of the world stage. So another symbol of something very good happening after this. Becoming more open to what has yet to occur. So I think that's my thought here from these degrees. New and better things are coming, but we're still kind of stuck with the past and obsessing over that or sad about that. Not only maybe trying to recreate the past, not only that, but some of us may also do the opposite and try to force the future and make that isn't, and there's no forcing, there's no recreating the past, there's no forcing the future. It's going to happen at its own time. And we either need to let it happen in our own time, or if we don't, we're going to have to learn to do it and to make way for the unknown, right? What cannot be foreseen, and to let God step in. So I think that's all I'm going to say there. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull your card. So let me do that now. Your card for this full moon in Cancer. Oh, wow. It's the Eight of Wands. It's the Eight of Wands here, upright. This is actually a card of things moving quite quickly and easily here. But again, it's not because of any effort of our own. I just don't get it. It's not because of any effort of our own, you know, and to let it happen. And I think the more we interfere, the more complicated things are going to get, or maybe slow things are going to get. And so I think that the message here is like, things are going fine. Things are going fine. Things are going much better than you think. You don't need to really do that much except just let and allow and let it flow. Look, there's a big water. Let it flow here, because things are going at just the speed that they need here, and to allow it. Not only that, but this Eight of Wands is kind of interesting. They're like in a little teepee, or like in a little ceremonial display, so to speak here. So another thought is not only like things are going quite fine to work themselves out on their own, it's actually moving at a fine speed. You just need to let it flow here. But right, there may be some sort of ritual, daily ritual or self-care practice that can help you to work with that here that's going on. Okay. Another thing too that I'm thinking is like appreciating is, here it is, like beautiful, like arrangement and the waterfalls is like appreciating the good stuff. You know, sometimes we focus on the negative. Oh, well, I feel unsafe. I feel uncertain in this different place, instead of focusing on the positive. And I think that's a big thing that's happening at this full moon. Things are adjusting. They are getting better, but we're focusing on our fear. And I think there's also a need here to adjust your perspective. Look at the bright side. Look at the things that are working, even if it's not what you thought it would work, way it would work or wanted it to work. Focus on the good. Focus on the bright side. Focus on the things that are coming together here, and increase your appreciation for that. Here too, because that appreciation and that peace and grace is going to help things come together more smoothly, you know, and bring things together, right? I'm getting like a your faith has healed you vibe, you know. Your peace, yeah. I'm also getting too from this card, the path of least resistance as well, is a thought too. Sometimes when we do things, we make things more complicated. It takes a lot of effort. The path of least resistance is the way we need to go. And with the Mars in Cancer, I don't know, some of you may not have the energy or may just be so exhausted and triggered. So that's another thought here too. And at the bottom of the deck, we've got the Five of Pentacles upright, which to me is a lot about feeling still in a hard time, or in the cold, right? In the cold kind of reminds me of the Capricorn, maybe being the first sign of winter. And it's snowing here in Georgia today. It's snowing in Georgia today, which it doesn't do that often where I live. But yeah, I think that's the message. Things are going just fine. They are working themselves out. Focus on that it is going well, even if it's not the way you wanted, instead of the negative of how you feel that's insecure, and create structures to support yourself in this transition so that you feel more safe, and to flow with this process with it instead of against it, and take the path of least resistance. Another thought, sorry, and one more thought. The Five of Pentacles is also about help from unusual places here too. So I'm also getting the sense of like banding. We as humans need to start banding together to help other people, you know, as well. Coming, you know, to help other people that sometimes can help you. If not helping other people, then this can also be to accept help from sources that maybe you didn't expect. This can also be a symbol too that some of you may receive help soon from a place you didn't expect, and to be open to that here too. So I'm getting all of a sudden a strong message over the course of the next few months. Some of you might get help from something or someone to turn your situation around, and Spirit saying, don't, you may not want to take it because maybe it's not what you thought, or maybe you have too much pride or ego in the way. Some of you might need to take it because it could be just what you need to help you out and to go with the flow instead of against it, and allow and focus on the good. And I think that's all I'll say there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that was helpful for you. I hope that you all are doing well. I hope that you all are safe if you live in California. I'm so sorry if anything has happened there to your home and situation that's going on, but I do wish you all the best. If you like this video, thank you so much. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe if you would like. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you 2 weeks from now at that new moon in the sign of Aquarius.